guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to kind of summarize my experience with staying at Oceans El Faro in the Dominican Republic. We stayed there unexpectedly on a recent trip, and I just finished editing my vlogs from our stay there, and I really wanted to share with you guys my experience with the resort. Being a travel agent, I take the resort that I stay at very seriously, and I think that it's really important to do your research. And sometimes even when you do your research, you just are not getting the full or true story behind the resort. So when we pulled into Ocean El Faro, it did appear to be a beautiful resort. When you walk into the lobby, everything looks shiny and clean and new and nicely decorated, and it definitely has the wow factor. And if I were on one of those trips where travel agents get to do a walk through different resorts and kind of see what they look like, I probably would have thought, hey, this is a pretty decent place. It looks really nice. I think clients would probably like it here. So it really, really is different when you actually stay on the property and get the full experience. So I'm going to take you step by step through everything that happened while we were there. The backstory is we were staying at a place called the Majestic Mirage in Punta Cana, which I thought was a very nice resort. And JetBlue canceled our flight home. And what had happened was JetBlue decided to have the person who does the transfers from, hotel to airport, transfer everyone from that JetBlue flight to Ocean El Faro. And what they had said to us was, we're going to keep you here until you can figure out how to get home. We don't really have any other flights, going out soon. We have to figure it out, but don't worry, you're going to be taken care of. Everything's okay. So, it wasn't the best scenario for us. So maybe we were judging a little bit harder than we may have normally, but some of these situations are way over the top and have nothing to do with our circumstances. When we arrived, it was raining, there was a really bad storm, and everyone was obviously really upset. We were going to take this little shuttle trolley that they have that takes you from the entrance of the resort to your room. And again, it's raining. My mom is elderly. She's struggling with luggage. We're trying to help her. We get her onto the tram and they bring us over to where our room is. And the man who's driving stops and says, "Get off, hurry up, get off. What's taking you so long? Get out." To my, elderly mother who's struggling and trying to pull her bag off and trying to get off, and she's shaking, and it was just awful. And so there was that. That was our first impression. We get into the room and the room smelled really badly of fish. There were a lot of areas of the room where paint was peeling and it just did not appear to be clean. There were some stains on the sheets. It was just so dirty and gross. And even when we had gone on out to the balcony, there was garbage and some really gross types of garbage out there that we really didn't need to see. So yeah, there's that. There were some really gross things. You could clearly tell it wasn't cleaned very well for the new guests arriving. Okay, then that evening we were so hungry. We went to the cafeteria. I think it's called El Mercado, something of that nature. And it was so busy, packed with people. It was really hard just to even get on the line to get to the food. But then when you got to the food, there was hardly anything to choose from. Everything looked gross, like the fruits and vegetables looked very old and wilted, and nothing looked edible. From the small amount that they had there to offer, I was really scared to take my chances in eating any of it because it was just really gross, didn't look fresh. Again, the room was mobbed with people. We ended up actually just leaving. We couldn't find anything edible and we were really hungry. We would have pretty much eaten anything at that point. When you are in the cafeteria and you're seated at a table, they're supposed to bring you drinks. And we asked a couple of people. The language barrier there is very difficult, and the workers just outright did not like us. They were rude. We would ask them a question, or we would just ask them for something basic like, can we have water? We were trying so hard to get a glass of water, and they would just completely ignore us, or they would just say, okay, we'll come back, and they wouldn't. And it was impossible to get any type of service or anyone to really give a crap. Like, it was bad. So eventually we ended up giving up. We went back to our room. We ordered room service, which was also a challenge because they didn't want to do it, and we were trying to explain to them our circumstances and pretty much begging for food at that point. And they did eventually bring us room service. So yeah, so that was our first night there. Incredibly rude staff and very dirty room. Also, when I was in the main entrance lobby area, there's a little bar. So the bar will serve you beer that is literally watered down. It was so gross. You could tell there was water in it. It did not even taste like beer. And the cups were about this big. They were really small. So that was interesting too. None of the drinks were good. None of the food was good. We met somebody there who had a timeshare at this resort, and they could not express how incredibly they were disappointed and how regretful they were of signing up for this timeshare, because they absolutely did not like this resort at all. And it was a young family. I felt really bad. She was so upset to end up there because, like I said, we didn't even know where we were going at the time. And she was not happy to even be there, even though they had a timeshare there, because they never had a good experience in the few times that they were there. They also said that the food was very poor. It's very hard to get reservations at any of the restaurants. I imagine maybe the restaurants are a little bit better than the cafeteria, but it was really hard to get reservations. We spoke with the hotel manager, and he managed to get us a reservation one night at the hibachi restaurant, which actually was good. I don't know if it's just that we were so hungry at that point because we were a couple of days in, but we did enjoy the food there. And we did speak with some people that actually did say they liked it there. So I don't know if their standards are just different than mine. There were a lot of locals there as well. I felt like a good amount of the people there appeared to be locals. And they knew who the Americans were, and they did not like them. They just didn't. And I don't know, but the staff there was just that bad. And like I said, the whole situation with my mom, that was just absolutely awful. Okay, so let's go to the next day. The hotel manager had said to us that JetBlue was only paying for the one night stay, which they'd never said that to us, and we needed to leave or we needed to pay to stay another night, which, I mean, I totally get that, but this was completely unknown to us because that's not what we were initially told. And they ended up, so we're trying to work it out, and I'm saying, okay, well, obviously I'll do what I need to do. I'm in the middle of a foreign country. I don't know where to go. We were dropped off at this resort. We didn't even want to come here, and I just don't know what to do. So let's work it out. Let's work out a price. What do we need to pay to stay? I don't want to leave. So we were negotiating. We were kind of being hard pressed to leave, and even the gentleman who was dealing with the transfers kind of tried to scare us, and he said, listen, it's really bad out there. They're locking you out of your room. You're not going to know what to do, and I recommend you get in my van now and let me take you to the airport and just sleep there for a couple of days. And I'm trying to explain to him that my mom is well into her 70s. There's no way she's going to go sleep in an airport for a couple of days. She already doesn't have her medication because we didn't expect the delayed flight, and she's not feeling well, and this is just ridiculous. So we went back to the room as we're figuring all of this out, and they had locked us out of our room. And we were very far from the main entrance, which is why we had to take that little shuttle tram thing over. So my mom and me and my sister were literally sitting on the stairs, locked out of our room. It's nearly 100 degrees out. We were trying to get water from, there's people that come by and fill the refrigerators, and we were asking people, like, can we please have water? And they would just give us a look and walk away. Eventually one gentleman did give us water, but we had to work for it. It was so bad. It was so bad. I'm trying to look at my notes here. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. I should talk about the beach area. Again, if you're walking through this resort and you're just looking at it, and if you see my videos, you'll see it does appear to be beautiful, but it's just not very clean. The beaches had a lot of seaweed, which there was also a lot of seaweed at the previous resort that I stayed at, but this beach was also very rocky, and the ocean was just a bit more rough, and there was no time that I felt safe going in. So we just sat at the beach for a little while and took in the atmosphere, but we did not go in the water because it did not seem like it was going to be a nice experience. We used some of the public restrooms. They were not well taken care of. They were very dirty. And at one point, one of the workers was in the restroom and there was no toilet paper. There were no hand towels. And she was just sitting there on her phone, and she was kind of leaning on the sink, and she's on her phone scrolling through and doing things, and she was actually in my way. I couldn't even wash my hands, and I was like, excuse me, and she just kind of rolled her eyes at me and moved over. So this is the element that you're working with here, okay? No toilet paper, no hand towels, and the girl working in there is on her phone and just leaning on the sink and totally paying no regard to what's going on around her. And again, these are several people. I understand if it's one individual that behaves this way, you can't base an entire resort, but I dealt with a hotel manager, I dealt with bartenders, I dealt with restaurant servers, I dealt with the cleaning staff, I dealt with a lot of people in our stay there, and I can't say anything good about any of them, unfortunately. And this is so disappointing because in my mind, I was going to have yet another resort that I could recommend to clients, and absolutely I cannot. At least I know where not to send people. So yeah, it was very unfortunate. And if you're new to my channel, you can go back and check out some of the videos. I did share all of our daily vlogs from when we stayed at the Majestic Mirage. And I did share our time in Ocean El Faro. I shared much less there because we were just dealing with a lot of aggravation. I didn't have a lot of time for just, sharing every single thing that was going on because it was kind of chaos. But I mean, it was bad. We were treated very poorly. The hotel is not in good condition. The rooms are not well kept. That smell of fish was just so disturbing. It was so uncomfortable to stay in a room that smelled like fish. And we actually said to them, is there any way you can move us to another room? Because it really smells bad in there, and the sheets are dirty, and the ceiling's coming down, and we're so far away from the main lobby area and the food with my mom. It was just a lot trying to get her back and forth. And they just would kind of laugh at us. They would pretend like they didn't know, or maybe they actually didn't know what we were saying. There was, this whole communication thing, which I don't know if they were just kind of playing that card because they didn't want to deal with us, or if they actually didn't know how to communicate with Americans. But I feel like that's not really good because you probably have a lot of English speaking people vacationing here, so you should be able to communicate with them. At the very least, you should understand when somebody's asking for water and be able to provide them with that, at the very least. So, yeah, I wish I had something good to say about this resort. I am sorry if you are already booked there. Maybe you might want to rethink it. I know if you go online, you're going to see 4 to 5 star reviews on this resort. I don't know how. I don't know who is giving these reviews. I don't know if people are being paid off or getting perks or whatever the situation is, but they don't deserve 5 stars. And that's it. I don't know what else to say. It was a very bad experience. I was very happy to come home, and it's not a place I would ever return to. So if you need help planning your vacation, reach out to me. I do know some really good places to stay, and maybe I can steer you away from being in the same type of situation that we found ourselves in. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Leave comments below if you've ever stayed at this resort. I would love to hear your experience. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.